long time ago, in the analog galaxy not far away, Minolta introduced the SRT-101 film camera. SRT stands for Single Lens Reflex with TTL metering. For 1966, this was an innovative and robust camera full of the most useful features which became standard in all cameras soon after. SRT-101 remains a great camera suitable for the learners of all ages to serious and demanding amateurs. If it works today, you can be fairly certain that it'll outlast you. When I say a learner's camera, I don't mean a primitive throwaway camera. I don't mean a camera with point-and-shoot features doing all the work for you. It's not Canon AE1. It is for those who like to take charge, explore the exposure triangle, take their time to compose carefully, focus, press that button, and get a kick out of the process itself, let alone the beautiful results.
I'm the greatest photographer that Life magazine has ever had.
Focus on the photograph you want to take. Focus on what you want to say.
SRT-101 was announced at Photokina in 1966. It followed Minoltas SR-7 flagship to become its top SLR camera. The design is largely based on SR-7 Model V. At the time of its release, Pentax absolutely dominated the market. SRT-101's immediate predecessors and competitors were Pentax Spotmatic from 1964, Canon's Pellix from 1965, the Nikkormat FT from 1965, and Canon's FT-QL from 1966. SRT-101 was arguably more advanced and desirable than all of those in several ways. Pentax Spotmatic still had screw-mount lenses, not bayonet lenses. Pentax and Canon had only stop-down metering. That means the lens had to be stopped down manually for light measurement, then opened up for focusing. By contrast, Nikkormat and Minolta had bayonet mount and open aperture metering, but Nikkormat required the indexing of the lens against the body every time the lens was changed, with a kind of manual back-and-forth aperture shuffle, with something referred to as rabbit ears. Minolta SRT-101 did the indexing automatically. The light measuring system of Minolta SRT-101 was also superior. Minolta itself referred to SRT-101 as a professional camera. SRT-101 has an exceptionally robust and reliable construction. I won't say it's built like a tank. That description is reserved for Soviet cameras, which also look like tanks. No, this camera is sleek and refined, a very modern look for its time. As you pick it up, you feel in your muscles that it is strong, heavy, and serious, just the way I like it. All elements of the exposure triangle are set manually. Battery is only required for the light meter. The rest of the camera works even without the battery. Here's the quick start. Load the film the way of almost all Japanese cameras. As there is no automatic DX coding, you set the film ASA, which is the same as ISO, on this dial. Pull it up, rotate, and select the ISO. Then set the shutter speed. For example, a reasonable speed for handheld shooting like 1/250th of a second. Then adjust the aperture on the lens as you look through the viewfinder. When the two needles match, it means you have the right exposure. Press the shutter button to shoot. Now for the details. Pull up the rewind knob to open the film door. Put the film leader behind one of those plastic fingers on the take-up spool. Wind a little so that the leader goes around the spool and seems secure. Then stretch the cartridge to the other side and pop it in. Push the rewind knob down. Make sure the film is flat and engages with the sprocket shaft. Close the back and do a couple of blank shots until you get to number 1. That's your first real shot. The film advance lever has a standoff position of 20 degrees and a further 150 degrees for the full swing, so it's a rather wide swing. It also allows for multiple ratcheted action. Wide swing usually means less gearing and therefore smooth action. SRT-101 accepts the Minolta SR bayonet mount lenses using MC or MD Rockor lenses. MC lenses introduced open aperture metering. The later MD lenses allowed for shutter priority in later camera models. These MD lenses are backward compatible with the MC cameras, such as the SRT. These are readily available, high quality, and inexpensive today. To remove the lens, press this button diagonally towards the lens and rotate left. To mount the lens, match the index mark, then turn right until it clicks. Note there is a little spring-loaded tab here that rotates to communicate aperture information between the lens and the camera mechanically, similar to later Nikon cameras. This must move freely and follow along as you change the aperture. If not, work it by hand a few dozen times and it should loosen up. Otherwise, a tiny amount of lubrication may be required. The aperture dial here has clicks on the main stops and half stops, which is very useful for the most accurate light metering, considering that the shutter dial has only full stops. The normal standard lens for SRT-101 was the MC Roco PF 58mm f1.4. MC refers to meter coupling and PF refers to the lens construction. At the time, two alternative standard lenses were also made available, the 55mm f1.7, the economy model, and 58mm f1.2, the most expensive one. This camera has a large pentaprism and oversized double-hinged mirror. As a result, it has a very bright viewfinder. The fixed focusing screen has a microprism, which is very easy to use in almost all light conditions. The bottom of the viewfinder shows the full range of the shutter speeds and the one you've currently selected. The right side has two needles for light metering. The live thin needle is a light meter and your target. It reacts to the light level based on your ISO setting. Strangely, needle going down means higher level of light. Needle going up means less light. The needle with circle, also called follower needle, is activated by the shutter or aperture. Either or both of these can be used to move it and match the live needle and set the correct exposure. Minolta recommends that you set the shutter first, but in fact it makes no difference which one you set first. The viewfinder on this model does not show the aperture. You need to look at the lens to see what you've selected. Some later high-end models in different markets such as SRT-102 for North America, SRT Super for Japan and Asia, or SRT-303 in Europe show the aperture in the viewfinder through a little window directly off the lens aperture ring. The same live needle is used for battery check also. Set the switch at the bottom of the camera to BC or battery check. If the needle goes over that rectangular battery check index, it means the battery is good. SRT-101 light metering is the open aperture type through the lens or TTL using Minolta's CLC or Contrast Light Compensation System, which was the refined version of average light metering and able to compensate for high contrast subjects. For example, a landscape with a bright sky, which is very typical. Early average light metering systems were easily fooled by the bright sky, incorrectly setting the light for the main subject lower in the picture. To achieve the balanced metering, the light metering system uses two CDS or cadmium sulfide cells with overlapping coverage placed at front and back of the pentaprism. One cell measures the whole scene and the other measures the top of the scene, being the sky, then compensates accordingly. This of course benefited the scenes in the horizontal format, not the vertical format. This system is not completely foolproof, but as long as you know how it works, you can get very good results. Let's say this was the precursor to the much later multi-zone matrix systems. Minolta was a real pioneer in light metering for almost 30 years. By the way, for the benefit of the Padawans, these cross-sections of the pentaprism tend to be a little misleading. If it was as simple as this, the picture would appear reversed left to right. This double reflection towards the eye only corrects the picture top to bottom and changes the angle of the view from the focusing screen to your eye. So, how is the picture corrected from left to right? This is how. The top section itself is not flat. It's in two pieces like a pitched house roof. So this ray of light bounces twice off the top roof before reflecting towards the eye. These are also called roof pentaprism for that reason, as you can see here. This also explains the reason for the geometry of a lot of early pentaprism housings with a pointy center. Anyway, I'm digressing. Shutter. SRT-101 has a horizontal traveling focal plane cloth shutter with speeds ranging from B to 1 full second and all the way to 1/1000th of a second. Flash sync is at 1/60th of a second. There are clicks right on the full stops and nothing in between. Minolta provided the mirror lockup feature here. Turn this knob and the mirror goes up. Rotate it back and the mirror comes down. This feature is useful for two reasons. it can reduce vibration due to the large mirror movement. Also, according to Minolta, it's a must for 21mm super wide-angle lenses which protrude into the camera and can hit the mirror. Here's a very typical self-timer of 10 seconds. Rotate it around 90 degrees, then press this little button to activate. If you change your mind before pressing the little button, you can ignore it. The main shutter button will still work. Here are two contacts for the flash, as the shoe at the top is only a cold shoe. Connect the flash cable to the one labeled as X. Don't worry about the other one, which is for the very old bulb flashes. Normally, regardless of what aperture you select, the viewfinder shows the scene through full open aperture, which was an innovation at the time. This is the depth of field button with a unique locking feature. Press it, then advance the film. The viewfinder will typically darken a little to show the actual aperture that you've selected. This will also indicate the depth of field that's going to be recorded on the film. You don't have to hold your finger on the button. If you press the button again, or if you press the shutter release button, the aperture will fully open again. This feature was useful for those who wanted to use pre-MD lenses in the stop-down mode without having to keep pressing the button. At the bottom of the camera, we see this tripod socket. This is the light meter switch. After you use the camera, turn it off to save the battery. Turn it to the BC for the battery check seen inside the viewfinder. This is the battery chamber door. SRT-101 was designed for the PX625 mercury battery. Mercury batteries are now banned due to the environmental hazards, but alkaline versions of the battery called 625A or PX625A are readily available online. There's a minor voltage difference between the original mercury battery, which was 1.35 volt, and the new ones, which are 1.5 volts. This can theoretically impact the light metering by a small amount, like 1 to 1.5 stops. On your model, you can check it against a handheld light meter or another camera. If you find a little deviation, such as 1 stop of inaccuracy, you can correct for it by making a one-off calibration adjustment on the ISO dial. I checked this camera with a 1.5 volt 625A battery, and it didn't need any adjustment at all. For other battery replacement options, you can also refer to this video, which gives you a few more options. The battery is really not an issue. This ring doesn't do anything except provide a conversion between DIN and ASA film speed. You can completely ignore it today, as all film cartridges show the sensitivity in ISO, which is the same as ASA. This camera does not have a dedicated system for double exposure. You can easily combine images on Photoshop. If you're super keen, you can press the rewind button while holding the rewind crank very steady. Then you wind the camera. The film won't move very much, but the shutter will be cocked. Then you can shoot for double exposure. The budget version of SRT-101 was SRT-100 from 1971. Its maximum shutter speed was 1/500th of a second. It also left out the self-timer, mirror lockup, and shutter speed indicator in the viewfinder. This other popular model is the SRT-101B from 1977 to 1981, with some simplifications and a few additions. In this model, the original SRT-101's mirror lockup was removed to simplify the construction, improve reliability, and reduce costs. The cold shoe was upgraded to a hot shoe, and the film memo holder was added to the back. The flash sync port now has only the X type, which is what you really need today. The depth of field button is now the conventional non-locking type, so you press and hold it. Altogether, a lot of the SRT family were made between 1966 and 1981, which is a very long life for the standard of camera industry. Some models were rebranded under department store names. SRT SC was offered through JCPenney and Kmart, and SRT MC was offered through Sears. This one is branded JCPenney. Plenty of them are now available in great condition in the used camera market. You don't have to settle for anything other than perfect. Here are all the other models of the SRT family for your interest. The top-of-the-line premium models were SRT-202 in North America, or SRT-303B in Europe, and SR-505 in Japan and Asia. The SRM model was the first ever SLR with integrated motor drive. The two hero models best known today are SRT-101 and 101B, which I'm demonstrating here. For the pictures in this video, I used the original SRT-101 and the standard lens. Anyway, there's a very small club of early, robust, full-featured manual SLR cameras which are great for the new young refugees and immigrants from the digital world to the film world. Minolta SR T, Pentax K1000 and Nikkormat FTN are all in that club. Everyone should have at least one of these in the collection, either as a training camera or as a second backup body for a fully electronic film camera. SRT-101 was a top-selling camera of its type in the world in its time and the absolute best Minolta seller until 1977. Minolta was a great innovator for decades and made millions of cameras and even more lenses. The first practical professional autofocus was introduced by Minolta and then followed by every other camera. When Leica wanted to partner with a Japanese company to assist with the development of their rangefinder and SLR cameras, they tapped Minolta. Minolta camera designs were incorporated in some Leica R cameras, which you can see in this video. In 2003, Minolta merged with Konica to become Konica Minolta. Then in 2006, Konica Minolta transferred certain camera assets and know-how on autofocus SLRs, lenses and digital SLRs to Sony. The Minolta DNA in the form of Minolta A mount in some ways survived and evolved into Sony Alpha system. Don't hesitate to pick up this piece of Minolta heritage that remains very functional and highly desirable today. That's it for Minolta SRT-101 and SRT-101B. Subscribe means thank you.